Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 84, podcast episode 84 of the Rise Up and Share Your Medicine podcast. I'm so happy to be here with you. My name is Lisa Espinosa, and I am a spiritual coach that focuses on career, on service, on your life's mission. And so, what I help my clients with is to connect with their soul consistently. So, not just every now and then, but every day, actually throughout the day, so that they can be led from their soul's guidance and share their unique medicine. And so, how do I do that? Is I help them identify what is blocking that ongoing connection, because it is our inheritance, it is our divine birthright to be able to be in an ongoing conversation with our soul. And there's always one of two things that is blocking that: your emotions or your thoughts. It's always that, your emotions or your thoughts. It may seem like it's something outside of yourself, right? I don't have enough time, I'm really working on this other thing. My intuition is terrible. Whatever external circumstance your mind is telling you is the reason that you don't consistently connect with your soul, it's not true. It always goes back to your emotions and your thoughts. And that isn't to dismiss that obviously there are circumstances that are challenging, that we have to be creative around, right? Like you might not be able to check in with your soul every hour or for an hour. That's not even necessary, really. But absolutely, could you do it every day throughout the day? For sure. So that's what I help my clients with. And if you're interested in that, I have a free consultation, 1 hour consultation that you could schedule on my website. I'll have the link for that at the end. Okay, so today, hello, welcome. We're going to talk about, I'm so excited, turning on your SI. What is SI? It's your soul intelligence. And so there's a lot of conversation right now, right, about, well, there has been, but it's very heightened, has become very heightened, about artificial intelligence, right? And so I'm not going to use this episode to talk about artificial intelligence and all of that stuff. I have a lot of thoughts about it. But what I do want to say is that artificial intelligence and any technology, the internet, any technology that we have, all it is a reflection of our own divine technology. So, for example, the internet, right? You can go online, punch a question in, and then you get thousands, sometimes millions of responses. Well, as magical as that seems, we're able to do that, right? Our soul intelligence means that we can tune in to the mind of God, the mind of the divine, the universe, whatever word you want to use, and we can access answers faster than the internet does. Answers that actually create miraculous solutions that solve problems that our intellect cannot solve, that the internet cannot solve. Right? So I'm not suggesting technology is bad and we shouldn't use it or anything like that, because literally I'm using technology right now to connect with all of you. But just to remind us that, oh, all the technology I see out there in the world is reflecting the divine technology within me. And so it is really important to think about, oh, am I using my SI, my soul intelligence? Do I have it turned on? Am I accessing it every day when I need to? And so that's what we're talking about today. Okay. And so, what is your SI? What are some qualities of it? Okay. And I really want you to think about think about it as technology, right? Think about it as like, oh, this is a divine technology within me, within everybody, but we need to choose to turn it on. And so I have a couple of notes here because I wanted to, there's always so much I can share about things, and I want to really keep it concise and useful for you and practical for you, that it actually lead to transformation for you. And so, what is the beauty of SI, right? One is that it's available to you every day, 24 hours a day, wherever you are. So you know how there's places where internet isn't as strong, or you don't have it available, or etc., etc. Well, your SI doesn't matter where you're at. Wherever you are, whatever time, it is always available. Your soul intelligence, that divine technology is always available. So just really think about that, like, wow, I have this technology that is always available, right? 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, wherever you are on the planet, it is available. The other thing about your soul intelligence, right, your SI, is that it's unique to you, it's customized to you. So, yes, everybody has the capacity to access, right? To access the mind of God, the mind of the divine, universal wisdom. But everybody, and I've talked about this in different ways many, many times, but you will access it in your own unique way. It's like we are all different search engines, right? It's like, so Roxana, who I see her name, and Katie, who I see her name, it's like they will access the divine mind in a very unique way, just as I access it in a very unique way. And you who are watching this access it in a unique way as well. That is the beauty and power of your soul intelligence. That is why it's essential that people have, that you share it. In fact, which just goes to the next things, but let me just pause here. It's important for you to know, like, oh, my SI, my soul intelligence is different than everybody else's. It's a different search engine than anybody else's. And the other thing about your soul intelligence, which is not true of technology, like artificial technology or technology that is trying to mirror our divine technology, is that it always benefits you and the collective. So by the collective, I mean humanity, right? So again, your SI, your soul intelligence, as opposed to AI, which can be amazing, it could absolutely serve people, humanity, and it could also create a lot of destruction, right? Let's just look at the technology of the atomic bomb, for example, right? But all of our soul intelligence, our SI, always, always, always benefits you and the collective. It is infinitely generous. It is infinitely loving. It is infinitely wise. So, again, another reason why it is essential that we turn this on inside of us, right? Our SI. And I just kind of said this right now. The other thing is that it's infinite. It never runs out. It's never like, oh, you stumped me. I have no idea what the answer is to this. Now, there might be times where you ask a question and there's silence inside, not because the divine mind is like, I'm stumped, I have no idea, but because there's something inside of us that's either blocking it, or we need to just kind of practice divine timing. There's some reason why we might not receive it right in the moment. And that is where, practice and actually we're going to get to that. How do you turn it on? How do you turn on your SI? But that's really important to know, like, wow, there's not ever a question you can ask that there isn't a divine answer solution to. Now, sometimes your SI might be like, that's the wrong question. That's actually not the question that's going to elicit the answer. Isn't that amazing? Right? That sometimes, quite often, it's the question that's the magic key. Right? So again, your SI is infinite. It never runs out. And finally, the last point I'll make, I mean, there's many, many more, but the last point I'll make is that your SI is increased, enhanced as you share it. It's almost like that's a really good marker that you're aligned with your soul. Because as I said, it always seeks to benefit the collective. It always seeks to bless all of humanity. So when you share it, when you share the answers, the solutions, the creative messages, the books, the meditations, the whatevers that you access when your SI is turned on, your soul's intelligence, it will be increased within you as you share it. So it is essential, not just for humanity, but for you to be sharing it. And as I said, this doesn't mean convincing people. This doesn't mean, hitting people over the head with it. It's just you share it in the way you are called to share it. And I can guarantee you, it's so interesting because my soul is just giving me so many like technology imagery, right? So I'm right now I'm seeing like all these people that are punching in a question, right? Metaphorically speaking, right? That you have the answer to. So there might be there's people out there in the world that might be thinking like, oh my gosh, how do I follow my soul's guidance? I'm feeling restless. I know there's something more I meant to do in my career. I know that there's some gift I meant to share. I don't know how to share it yet. Who do I find? Who has this answer? They're looking for me. I can give that answer, right? They're punching that in, and the universe will deliver it as long as I'm keep opening myself up to be of service in that way. And it's the same thing for you, right? There's people out there searching for you and for the soul intelligence that you can access for them, for the benefit of their life. And so, how do you turn it on? Right? The truth is, everybody has used their SI at one point or another, whether they acknowledge it or not, right? But we're talking about, like I said in the beginning, like doing this, like this being the default setting, right? It's like, oh yes, of course, I have my SI turned on, right? Which is stronger than 5G and any other whatever, right? And so what is the first step? And I've said this many, 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 many times, so much that it actually our intellect can dismiss it. Like, oh yeah, that's right. But it's really, 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 really important. The first step, almost always really, is set the intention. So what is the first step? Is you set the intention. Like, oh, I want to turn on my SI, my soul intelligence. I want it to be on. I want it to be the operating system within me. That step is huge. In fact, notice if there's any resistance you feel, because that would be really normal because the ego structure, we could call it the EI, the ego intelligence, is scared of us doing that. It's like, no, 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 no. Don't make that your default system. No, I still have to be in charge. So it's very normal for us to have resistance or fear around that. Well, do I really want my soul's intelligence to be the operating system? I don't know. I think I want to connect with my soul when it feels good to me, right? When it feels safe, when things are going really well, when I'm on vacation, when I'm on retreat, when I'm in a class, or when things are super intense and I'm facing a big loss. And then, yes, I want to connect with my soul then. But do I want to have that every day, all the time? I don't know. So it's very normal that we would have this resistance, which is why that first step is so courageous, so revolutionary, so radical, so bold, so brave to say, yes, that is my intention. My intention is that I have my SI, my soul intelligence turned on every day, all day long, that it is the operating system within me. And I've shared this before. One of the prayers I say every morning is, there's kind of like a little process, but one of them, when I connect with my higher self, my soul, my Holy Spirit, whatever word I use, I say something along the lines, and I learned this from Course in Miracles, is that, kind of speaking to my soul, to my higher self, to the divine, I say that your holy agenda be fulfilled today, not the ego's. Your holy agenda be fulfilled today, not the ego's. And when I first read that prayer, I was like, oh my gosh, I want that. But it took weeks for me to remember. Like I would be like at night, like, oh gosh, I forgot to do that prayer in the morning. And then I'd wake up and I'd forget again. And it was like, at some point, I'm like, what is happening? And I realized, of course, my ego, my parts are like, no, 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 but that's a way too powerful of a prayer. And so I had to really use my discipline, my divine will to be like, oh gosh darn it, I am going to say this prayer. And it's become almost habitual now, but there's still, like last week, several days I forgot, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'd been forgetting. So I went back to it. So that first step, how do you have your SI turned on, is you set the intention. I want this SI to be turned on. And Jill's saying it feels linked to our intuition. Absolutely. Our intuition is just another way. It's like the screen through which our soul speaks to us, right? And so first step, you set the intention. And then the second step is, unlike, how there's all this conversation about limiting your screen time, limiting how long you're in front of, you're scrolling mindlessly, or you're browsing through the internet. There's all these, just kind of very wise teachings on monitoring that, because it can become very addicting. Well, the beauty of SI, it's the opposite. Don't limit your screen time, quote unquote screen time. What is screen time within this process? Is the time you spend connecting with your soul, right? And this goes back to the teachings from my first book, Answering Your Inner Calling, about those interrupter rituals, right? And if this is your first time hearing this and you're like, what is she talking about? The interrupter rituals are just these moments throughout the day where you pause and connect with your soul, right? And so this kind of pausing, and there's just all these different ways, as I keep talking about this and teaching this and helping more clients and more people and all of that, my soul just finds different ways to talk about it, finds different refinements, different images to use. And so if you think about, instead of picking up our phone and like, okay, let me check what's on Instagram, and let me check what's on Facebook, and let me do this Google search, and please, I'm not judging that. I do that as well. Okay. But what if alongside with that, we're also like, wait, actually, the most important thing is, let me tap into my soul's intelligence. What is that giving me right now in this moment? What am I downloading? And we're going to do like a little meditation to ask, to tap into that soul intelligence together, to see what your soul is saying, those moments of plugging in, right? Of browsing the internet, so to speak, the soul net. What will that look like for you, right? I've talked for years that for me, it can be as simple as just bringing my hands to my heart and just receiving, right? Like receiving the download of like, okay, what is that soul intelligence coming to me right now? Right? It might be as simple as that. In fact, it will be simple. And then the last step is share the intel, right? Share what's coming through. Now, first, you might just be sharing it with yourself, right? Like first you might just be like, oh gosh, I'll share something that came up this morning for me. I woke up very early, as I usually do. I think it was like 5 or maybe a little earlier. And I did my meditation, and I was having this moment of like, should I get up and start work, or am I supposed to meditate more right now? Or do I go? I wasn't going to go take a walk because it was still dark outside, and it was like I was having anxiety about what my soul's guidance was, which step to take. And I heard, and I started like watching my breath and using the tools that I have. And I very clearly heard, I think it was my soul's voice. It was either my soul or Mother Mary, either one, they're on the same side. It was a very feminine voice, actually, that said, whatever you do, just do it with love, and you'll be doing the right thing. And I was like, oh. So like literally, it was like I saw this flash that even if I decided like, I'm going to look on Instagram, but that I brought love in, I would be doing the right thing. And I know many spiritual teachers have said some version of that So it's not like a new thought, but just a way in that moment, it was like, oh, okay, that felt so good to me. Like, oh, okay, that's right. It could ease that worry of like, wait, am I spending my time right now? It's like, no, whatever it is. It was like this voice very clearly said, whatever it is. And I knew in that moment that, let's say I decided to go on Facebook, but I brought love in, either it would be exactly what I needed to do, or with love in, I would be like, wait, I don't really need to be on Facebook. Let me go do this. Right. So that was kind of this moment of like, oh, this wisdom that came in, and now I'm sharing it with you. Right. So now it's going to be enhanced in me, and it's going to bring whatever blessing to you, however, whatever you receive from that. So step 3 is sharing it. And again, at first I just had to share it with myself. I just had to be like, oh, and there might have been times in the past where I wasn't guided to share it. In fact, I hadn't planned to share it here. It just kind of naturally came forth. So don't let step 3 pressure you like, oh gosh, now I need to go do a class about this SI that I just received. I mean, for some of you, that might be very natural. You are a teacher and you're teaching classes, so it might come through easily. But for others of you, it'll just be in a conversation. Your soul will guide you. Maybe you'll be talking to a friend and like, oh, you're guided to share this one thing, or you're guided to share something on social media, or you're guided to just send a blessing that the person doesn't even know you're sending, but that was part of what came through. Okay, so again, how is it turned on? The 3 simple steps. 1, you set the intention. Simple steps, but not necessarily easy. Set the intention. Step 2, after you set the intention, is like plug in throughout the day. Don't limit the screen time, right? Like plug in. Remember, I said your soul's intelligence, SI, is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, available everywhere. There's no place where the internet is down for this. Like wherever you are, you can access it. And step 3, share it. Share the intel, share the wisdom that comes through. So let's go ahead. Thank you, Jill. Yes, I loved that too as well. It was so simple and it just brought me so much peace. Like, okay, I don't need to worry about, am I doing the right thing? It's just do it with love. Okay, so let's go inside. Oh, before this, I want to remind you, as I was saying in the beginning, if you need help with this, if you're feeling like, yes, I want to follow my soul's guidance to take that connection to the next level, right? So that I'm being led from that place. And I know there's things that are blocking. And like I said, it always falls under emotions or your thoughts. Even when it seems that it's a circumstance outside of you, it always goes back to what are your emotions and thoughts that are responding to that circumstance. And it can be really confusing and hard to just look inside of ourselves by ourselves. It can be so helpful to have someone create that sacred space for you to do that internal, that internal looking. And so if this resonates and you want help, I do offer a free 60-minute consultation. I have some spots left in May. I'm going to be traveling a lot this month. I'm so excited. But I do have some spots still in May. So if you would like to schedule that, it would be my great honor to talk to you, to help you. We do it over Zoom. And if you look on there and there's no times that work for you, just send me an email. And sometimes, there's just a spot that opens up. Okay. So let's go ahead and do our inner journey. And so I invite you to close your eyes and take some deep breaths. And if you feel ready, again, you're a sovereign being, so you don't have to do any of this. You have free will. But in this moment, if you feel like, you know what, yes, I want to set the intention to turn on my SI, to let it be the operating system in my life. So if you have that intention, set that intention right now. Beautiful soul, turn on the SI in me, that soul intelligence. Now, for some of you, I'm becoming aware that you already have it turned on, But maybe for you, the prayer is like, beautiful soul, turn up the volume, upgrade. It's like you're getting a new cell phone, right? Like new internet connection. Like, I'm ready for the upgrade. I'm ready for that faster internet speed. So that's the first step. Set the intention. And if you're afraid, if you have fear, if you're like, I want to, but I have fear, just tell your soul that. Say, beautiful soul, help me to be ready for that. And so now for those of you, if you said, yes, I want that to be my operating system, just see this beautiful beam of light over you as you now ask, beautiful soul, how do I plug in throughout the day? How do I plug in? How do I access the intel, the wisdom, the divine solutions, the energy activations, the downloads? I know it's meant to be simple. My ego will want to make this complicated, but I know that it's meant to be simpler than punching in the keyboard to do a Google search. So ask right now, soul, show me, how do I plug in? And receive that download in your heart. No pressure. If you're like, I don't hear any words, that's okay. It's being downloaded and it will be revealed at just the right time. And then just the final question, right? This is step 3. Beautiful soul, what what have I already accessed? What intel, with wisdom is already within me, you already gave me, that you want me to share with others? So like, what am I meant to share with others? And again, just receive that download. It's going in, downloaded into your heart, whether you heard the words yet or not. It's there and it will be revealed at exactly the right time. And so take a few deep breaths, bring the palms of your hands together. We bow in reverence to ourselves, to each other, and receive your soul's bow in reverence to you. And we step out of this with a namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much. That felt so powerful to me. And if you want to share in the chat, if there's anything that came as far as, whether it felt easy to set the intention, whether you had resistance, or also what, what did your soul say? Like what is the way for you to plug in throughout the day? Or what you're being guided to share. My soul for that third one said everything. That was the answer. And I was like, what? Because I was like, what am I being guided to share? And thinking like, okay, I just shared something right now. That was great. And I literally heard everything. And then it was like I was a sun. It was just radiating all this light. It kind of freaked out some of my parts, just so you know. They were like, everything? What does that mean? But I'm gonna keep asking. Oh, Jill, hands to heart, breathe, slow down. Michelle, I heard through my heart, beautiful. Yes. Yeah, it was very similar to me for that question. I heard that too. Like, and actually I'd been listening to Pema Chodron on my walk today. She's a Buddhist teacher, full of so much SI for sure. And she was talking about bodhicitta, right? Awakening bodhicitta, right? Awakening that love and compassion. And so that's what my soul was saying, like, tune into that. Jill, yes, share more. Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. So I wrote down for next week what the The episode is mothering, episode 85, mothering your leadership. I know that might sound weird, like what? If you have any response to the word leadership and you're like, I'm not a leader, yes, you are. If you're here, if you're watching this, whether you're here live or on the replay, I can guarantee you, you are a leader. The world has really weird, bizarre definitions of what leadership is, but leadership is service. That's like the simplest definition. And what is service? Service is offering value without attachment. I mean, let's think of that. I'm going to be talking about that deeply next week. Right? Offering value without attachment. That is radical. I also want to remind you the free masterclass in May is getting unstuck and in the flow of your soul, right? In the flow of your career success. And you can replace the word career with divine mission, service, whatever, if that doesn't resonate, your business success. I'm super excited to teach that. I didn't do a masterclass in April. May is going to be amazing. And also the Mother Mary class, which is healing the self-hate virus. And she was telling me today, it's like a virus on your computer. You know, if you've ever gotten a virus on your computer, it sucks, right? It's like can create so much destruction. And now I understand why. I didn't realize why there was all this kind of technology terminology that was coming, but that's going to be a really powerful class. I love that flow is your fuel. And so I'm just going to pull a card for everyone and then we shall be done. Let me see what else did people write. Kate, distracted, continue periodic intentions within the day. Yes, share joy. Oh, I love that. Share joy. Yes. That is beautiful. All right, so let's pull a card from the Enchanted Forest Oracle. This will be for everyone. Let it be. If you need to solve a problem, ask yourself, what is the simplest way to proceed? When you call forth the simplest path, it appears, and vice versa. Oh my gosh, this totally feels like your soul's intelligence, right? Remember, this oracle card is an additional message from our soul as a collective. Let it be. If you need to solve a problem, ask yourself, what is the simplest way to proceed? I love that. That is how our soul speaks to us in simple steps, right? So look at this beautiful woman. Let it be. What is the simplest way to proceed? When you call forth the simplest path, it appears, and vice versa. So what is that saying? We could also unconsciously often call in the more complicated path, the suffering path, because we're so programmed for that. All right, the path of least resistance. Yes, the simplest path. Please share these. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed. Share this podcast with anyone who you think will resonate. And I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.